I might, just might, do the dishes now. Oh my goodness, I'm getting up. I'm walking over to the dishes. I'm gonna do it. Suddenly a voice calls from the other room. Hey, you haven't done the dishes in a while. When are you gonna do them? I don't feel like doing them anymore. What just happened? Welcome to the Rhythms of Focus podcast for wandering minds who are tired of feeling that they have to force themselves to make things happen. Maybe know that when things line up well, that tendency to wander actually becomes a powerful wave of focus. I'm Dr. Kourosh Dini, fellow wandering mind. It wasn't that long ago that I struggled to make things happen, whether it was to remember when to pay a bill, do things over time, or look at a list without feeling repulsed. Fast forward through years of study and practice, I can now not only deal with the world, I can be creative, playful, and engage in the ways that make sense to me. I can be a doctor, musician, father, still play games in the evenings. I've created this podcast to share these ideas so you can do the same, hopefully with a lot less of the troubles I needed to go through to get here. Whether you have ADHD, deal with anxiety, or just suffer from a powerfully creative spirit, I invite you to join me in this weekly podcast to start finding your own way to a calmer, more intuitive space. Please note, I'm not functioning as your doctor, psychiatrist, psychoanalyst, therapist, or otherwise. This is here for education, if not entertainment, and I do hope you enjoy it. Sometimes we're right about to do a thing with our own volition, and somebody else suddenly says, hey, go do the thing, and suddenly our desire to do it is gone. Our sense of agency was, in a sense, attacked, wittingly or otherwise. Our hero, already struggling with a want of motivation, whim, or the muse, finally had the winds tickling the sails. When someone else told them to do the very same thing, the desire was gone. Many of us struggle with being told what to do. Some blame dopamine. There's not enough. It's out of balance. It isn't interesting or urgent enough. Some make a moral accusation of laziness and the like. However, when we approach from a perspective of ourselves as growing human beings, we might recognize an early template at work. When our environments tell us what to do in this out-of-tune manner, in some way that doesn't quite recognize where we are, we might reject it. Clean your room, when our minds are elsewhere, when any process of transition is ignored rather than guided, doesn't work. It often creates problems. The lack of empathy may not have been malicious. It was simply a disengaged approach to a mind that wanders, a mind fueled by and reveling in play, creativity, and discovery. It may not even have been possible. The transition is simply too long in whatever the scope of what needed to happen. But when these things happen over and over, we absorb this message that our natural mental rhythms are somehow wrong, contrasting with the self that clearly exists, regardless of how wrong we accuse it of being, and so we rebel. Unfortunately, we may internalize the rebellion as well, forming a form of reflex, an unconscious, ready path of rejection. We rebel against ourselves, the authority within. How often have you written, write report, or some similar item on a task list, only to see it later and then say, well, not now. Later continues to be later, as later always does, and the task languishes until it sinks below the surface or a deadline threatens from the horizon. We saw our past self as this unempathic authority to reject. When we see the task, do dishes, and the like, our emotions swell, reflecting the relationships we've internalized. Without a simultaneous honoring of our past self, caring for our future selves, and respect for our present self, we channel and perpetuate the injuries. Our tasks, lists, and shiny new apps only become the medium. Today's piece of music is a quiet, contemplative one. It's called Shallow Breath. I hope you enjoy it. If you've enjoyed what you've heard today, kindly subscribe, rate, review with whatever app you're using. If you're on the Apples, press the Apple buttons. If you're on the Spotifys, press the spots. If you're on the YouTubes, press those things, whatever the things. And if you're feeling especially generous, consider leaving a review. Maybe mention your favorite piano piece or just say hi. Your support helps more wandering minds find this podcast.